remember the neighbors across the street from Cameron. You know how they were like a family friend of them, and so we
Yeah.
also got to spend a lot of time with them as well because they were all kind of like a cohesive family.
Yeah.
They had the pool, so we would go over there and have like little pool parties and stuff like that.
I know. I remember one time I knocked over their screen door because I couldn't see.
Oh, you did? The front door or
Yeah.
back
Did I
door?
ever tell you about that?
No.
No, the back door, the screen door to the backyard. Because I was going in the pool, and of course you don't wear your glasses in the pool,
Right,
right?
right.
So I had my glasses off, and they would just leave the screen door open. So I thought it was open, and it wasn't. And I just smacked right into it and knocked the whole thing over.
Oh, damn. Was anyone around to see it?
I'll never forget. Yeah, it was hilarious. Everyone left.
You just bulldozed it.
Pretty much.
That sucks.
I'm sure like Danielle and Jamie would probably remember.
You know, I feel like I've only been through their house like maybe once or twice, but we would always just take the little side path. Like we just open the little gate on the side and walk over to the pool.
Oh, okay.
But the reason why I bring it up is, do you remember like the crazy like controversy that happened once everyone was out of high school?
Yeah, I remember there being a controversy, but I don't remember what it was.
Well, the dad ended up being like a child molester or something. You never heard about that?
I might have, but you know my memory's crap. So carry on.
Our family wasn't ever really like super close with them. It was just kind of like when we would hang out with
Yeah.
Cameron and Danielle's family, we would hang out with them by association, right?
Yeah. Did he get did he get like arrested?
He did. Yeah, I think they did like a raid or something on the house.
Oh my gosh, that's nuts.
I guess this had been happening for like a few years, and he was basically like inviting Girl Scouts into the home, and then he would like assault them inside the house or something. That's just from what I
That's
heard.
nuts.
And I remember Cameron's mom even asking us like, do you remember seeing anything crazy? Like Sherry was asking Danielle and I, like, did he ever say anything inappropriate to you guys? Did he ever try anything, like, did he ever try to touch you guys? And we're like, no, never. Like, we've never seen anything like that.
I guess it was, I don't want to say smart, but like, probably a good idea not to do that to like the direct neighbors that could tell on you. But yeah, I'm definitely glad that he got caught and arrested. Wow, that's just horrible.
Yeah, that kind of broke the ties between those two families.
Them, yeah,
And they were so tight knit too, like that was like
I
one
know.
family essentially. But you can tell within their own family, like it just got really, I don't know, it got shattered.
It just broke the family. Yeah,
I think not long after that, they ended up moving out. So the rest of the family just kind of bounced. But that was just like a really crazy series of events. And, it's like we spent so much time over there. You would never think anything like that. Like they've never done anything inappropriate or made you feel uncomfortable or anything like that.
mm-hmm.
It's just crazy how things like that can turn up
Yeah, that's.
right under people's noses.
I know. Just gotta do my best to keep my children safe.
Oh, definitely. Are we hopping into the episode?
Let's hop in. What do you guys say? Let's mob it.
Let's mob it. Yeah. How you doing, everybody? Welcome to our February edition of Aflixionados podcast, episode 60 now. We're available wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes drop on the first Saturday of each month, 5 a.m. Pacific. If you enjoy our content, please consider giving us a like and subscribe. All of our social accounts are bundled together for you in our link tree. My name is Eric, and the other voice occupying your head this time is a devoted mother of three, lab geek, comic nerd, retired emo, HBIC, tourist, my sister and co-host, Stephanie.
So,
We mainly talk about films that range from mind-numbing to mind-blowing. TV shows and other forms of media are also covered from time to time. We will be getting into spoilers here, and there will be only the healthiest amount of expletives tossed in. You have been warned. If you ain't ready, then get ready, because in this episode, this awesome episode, I'm excited for this one, we will be discussing the Spanish dark fantasy film El Labyrinto del Fauno, also known as Pan's Labyrinth, released in 2006, directed by Guillermo del Toro. I don't know if it's called Pan's Labyrinth around the world, but it's called Pan's Labyrinth in the US, at least. And You know, what I really like about it is that, and this is something that I didn't even know because I never saw this movie, but it addresses and continues similar themes to Guillermo del Toro's 2001 film, The Devil's Backbone. Del Toro himself even considers Pan's Labyrinth to be almost like a spiritual successor to that movie.
Interesting. I've never even heard of
The
it.
Devil's Backbone also revolves around children, like as the main characters, and it's also during the Spanish Civil War. So
Oh,
a lot of
so he had
similar
a
settings.
yeah.
Maybe less fantasy though. I don't think there's like a fantasy element to it. I think it's more grounded. So I guess the film's story, it takes place in Spain and was filmed there, but Pan's Labyrinth is actually an international co-production between Spain and Mexico.
Oh, no way. I don't know that.
Fun fact. And of course, with how awesome this movie is, at the 79th Academy Awards in 2007, this movie won Best Art Direction, Best Makeup, and Best Cinematography, which I'm not surprised by any of that.
Yeah, seriously. Definitely. I saw this movie for the first time around the time that it was released in college. And I immediately fell in love with it, even though, like, I would say, I mean, I'm not saying it's not my thing, but, like, it's a lot darker than the type of stuff I usually like. Like, I usually like, fairy tale, a happy ending. Like, I like happy stuff, because when I watch a movie, when I read a book, whatever, I'm trying to like escape the realities of life, I guess. So I seek out happy endings. So this one, I mean, it's quite like it's questionable if it's happy or not. I guess it's up to you to decide whether she's just having like a dying fantasy or if it's real, right? And I think that's like throughout the whole movie, like you never really know,
What's real and
or it
what's
could
not.
kind of go either way,
Yeah.
whether it's all in her head and she's just trying to escape the realities of her shitty world, or if it's actually freaking happening.
In some ways I kind of relate it in that regard to Sucker Punch.
Right.
It's kind of similar. Like you don't know what's real and what's not, sort of thing. What's all in their head.
Yeah, I saw that one in the theater like a million years ago.
But I'm definitely with you. I think I grew up more with like fantasy, high fantasy type stuff, which isn't as
Yeah.
gritty, isn't as dark,
Yeah.
isn't as creepy. I've never really been super into dark fantasy stuff myself. That's like Dark Crystal,
Uh-huh.
because that shit was really unsettling for me as a kid. Like the animatronics and like the art
I
style, I was just like,
know.
it just made me feel uncomfortable.
You're like, nah. But I do like I definitely like obviously this movie is very dark and it can be very sad at times. Violent, all that business.
Oh yeah.
But it definitely has a way of capturing you, like with all of it.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it has a good balance because the whole thing
Yeah.
isn't just grim. Like it has a lot of lighthearted moments and it has like really interesting kind of childlike wonder incorporated into the
Yeah, this
story.
optimism, this innocence and optimism that you get through Ophelia's eyes while she's living in this horrible reality that she lives in with her mom, marrying this crazy
Fucking psycho.
fascist military, yeah, psycho dude, being really powerless herself.
Hmm.
Oh man, it's just such a crappy situation. It sucks that she has to be in it.
Yeah, plus I mean it's in the middle of a war. I think this is like just after the Spanish Civil War, but World War II is still going on. So
Yeah,
no one is safe around here. Like things are
yeah,
getting destroyed, people are getting blown up.
yeah. They have the resistance fighting back all the time and doing a pretty dang good job of it too.
Yeah.
Um, all the while, obviously, while the captain, her stepfather, Ophelia's stepfather, is being a psycho mofo and trying to fight the resistance. Every time he's in the shop, pretty much, you never know what he's gonna do or like what crazy violence is gonna happen.
Right.
And so, like, I feel like every time the Captain Vidal is in the shot, it's just tense.
Oh yeah. It's uncomfortable.
So yeah. Anyway, we meet Ophelia. Well, I mean, it shows her like reverse dying, like undying.
You kind of see, yeah, this little girl dying, and you're like, the fuck is going on?
Like
And it's just,
yeah, like it's going in reverse, so like the blood is like going back into her, and
and it doesn't really give you much context. It just kind of goes like right into this fairy tale.
yeah,
It just alludes to the fact that like, are we talking about this little girl that you just saw right now? We don't know because they don't really actually show the little girl. It just kind of shows like a little like drawing or illustration or something of her.
yeah.
It's saying that there's this Princess Moana,
Which I think is hilarious that her name is Moana.
Moana, And her father is the king of the underworld. This Princess Moana, she wanted to go visit the human world. Unfortunately, it seemed like she kind of became mortal when she went into the human world, and the sunlight blinded her and it kind of wiped her
She lost all
memory.
her memories. Yeah, that sucks.
I don't know if she like starved to death or she like froze to death or something, but yeah, she was like ill equipped for the world.
She was she was susceptible to all the things that humans are. So she lived, got sick, she died, and like her spirit kind of carried on, but she was basically carrying on as a human, and her family was waiting for her to come back.
Like one of those lessons that you tell children, like you better eat your vegetables or you're gonna end up like
I
Moana.
know,
You
right?
know, it's like a cautionary tale. And I guess the only way to return to the underworld is through these labyrinths. So the king, he never stopped
Gave up.
looking for her. He knew that she was going to
Yeah.
return someday, even if it took like millennia. She was going to return at some point. So he had these labyrinths built out in the human world. Those will act as portals, and those will send her back when she's ready.
Yes. So then we're in what, 1944 Spain, fascist regime. We've got Ophelia in the car with her
I guess
mom.
they call it Francoist Spain. Franco's
Yeah,
like
they
the
say
dictator.
I'd have to look up the honestly. I'd have to look up the history. I don't remember it, but
Yeah, this was like just after the Spanish Civil War, from my understanding, and Franco is like the dictator that's currently ruling. Resistance members trying to fight against that.
yeah. So Ophelia and her mom are on their way to go be with the captain, so that because she's pregnant with his baby, and he wants his son to be born, and he's convinced that it's a son. He wants his son to be born where he is. He's
Hmm.
very he's
Very
very
controlling.
controlling, but also like kind of obsessed with lineage and
Legacy.
legacy. Yeah, yeah, thank you. So he's decided that it's a son, and he wants his son to be where he is.
Out in the
And it
battlefield.
also, yeah, right. And it also shows, like this watch that he's obsessed with, that he fixes.
So, what's the story behind the watch?
So his dad was also a soldier, a general or something. And when he died, he smashed the watch so that his son would know what time he died. And it's interesting because, like the guy at the dinner table tells that story, and he's just like, oh, that's ridiculous. My father never owned a watch. But we obviously know it's true because we see him with that watch.
So, why does he keep the watch away from everyone, though?
I don't know. I don't know if that's just like a controlling weird psycho thing.
Hmm.
It's just like a symbol to him of, his ego and the legacy and the weird psycho situation.
Let's introduce the main characters then. So, the main character, 10-year-old Ophelia, brilliantly played by Ivana Baquero. She's the one that's traveling with her pregnant mother, Carmen, played by Ariadna Gil.
And I feel so bad for her.
It seemed like she was getting motion sickness, but I think this was kind of like the precursor to whatever illness she had, right?
No, I think she had there's this, I don't know if you call it an illness, but it's a condition that pregnant women, how like pregnant women get morning sickness.
Mm, that can continue.
Some women will get like a really severe version of morning sickness that basically lasts the entire pregnancy, and it can be so bad. Like I've known people who have ended up like just in the ER on IV fluids because they can't keep anything down, so they're dehydrated, that sort of thing. So
Ooh,
I'm wondering if she had
yikes.
something like that, or if it was something else.
Okay.
Maybe she had, I don't know, preeclampsia or something, because she was kind of like always just kind of sickly,
Yeah, she was in rough shape.
She was.
So Ophelia and Carmen, they are on their way to basically relocate to this war zone because that's where Captain Vidal, played by Sergi Lopez, the stepfather. So that's where he wants everyone to be. And so they're on their way over there and they're just kind of driving through the forest or whatever. They do stop. They make a brief stop because Carmen's not feeling well and she just kind of needs a breather. Ophelia's just wandering off, and she sees like this bug thing, this like stick bug looking thing that's kind of fluttering around, and she immediately believes it to be a fairy, which I thought was interesting.
Her finding the rock and putting it back is like somehow only, Princess Moana reincarnated would find that thing and put it back or something. But it triggers, it triggers the whole thing. The fairy comes out and it seriously looks like a freaking praying mantis. She goes back to the car and she's like, I saw a fairy. And I would have been like, I saw a freakish bug. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I thought was interesting about it. She immediately thought it was a fairy, and I was like, huh, I wonder what made her think that that was a fairy. Like maybe she got a different vibe from it.
Maybe that's part of it, is that she recognizes it for what it is, when
Hmm.
anybody else probably would have been like, ew, gross bug.
Probably depending on different stories that people have told over time in different cultures and stuff like that. Fairies can be any shape, really. They don't look like Tinkerbell.
I know. Yeah, I thought about that too. That maybe, in other cultures, like they describe fairies to be different shapes, but then also she has her book, and in the book, the fairy looks like, typical fairy that we know.
Yeah,
A little tiny human or tiny person with wings or whatever, little pixie.
more cuter, more appealing. Which I think they it transforms because it's just like more approachable.
I think it's interesting, yeah, because she shows it the book, and then it's like, oh, okay, and then it takes that form.
It being in this bug form, I wonder if like it just took that form because it's less conspicuous, like it just blends in with the rest of the surroundings.
Possibly.
Either you won't see it because it's camouflaged, or you just won't really bat an eye because you're just like, oh, that was just a huge bug, whatever.
Yeah.
Pretty cool though. I liked it.
So yeah, they make it to the camp, and Carmen is like, call him dad.
No,
And yeah,
I don't
nah.
think so.
And then it seems like he doesn't really even care about her either.
Yeah, that he had a really kind of awkward interaction with her, right? Because she was gonna shake his hand, and he just grabs it, and he's like, "It's the other hand."
Right? Why do you
It's
gotta
like,
grab her
damn,
hand like
dude,
that?
relax.
Seriously. But even his interaction with Carmen, because like Carmen is like, hello, darling, kind of thing. And he's just like, you're here. Great.
Hmm.
And that's kind of how he treats her. Like, he treats her like she's some silly little woman.
And he was also kind of disappointed because he was like, "You're 15 minutes late, right? Like it
Right?
matters." Like instead of saying like, "Hey, I'm glad you got here safe," he was just like, "Why are you late?"
Yeah, like, how you feeling? Oh, you're feeling bad. I'm so sorry. Like, he's like, you're late.
He's very structured. It seems like he likes things to be on schedule and by the book and all that stuff. Like you see him, like he's always like well groomed. His hair is always parted the same way.
Yeah.
He always stays clean shaven.
Yeah. Very by the book.
He also has this housekeeper, Mercedes, played by Maribel Verdú. She's the one that's a little bit more compassionate, and she's more approachable than this Vidal guy, and she takes care of Carmen and Ophelia, so she's like the proxy to Vidal, right? Because she does like a lot of his bidding, but she also does Ophelia and Carmen's bidding as well, so she's always the one that's just kind of taking care of everyone, pretty much like all the major characters here.
Yeah. And then you find out more about her too, but we'll get to that in a sec. Yeah, so before Ophelia even goes inside, she discovers that on the grounds there's the labyrinth, and Mercedes kind of tells her that's a labyrinth. Like, I want to go in there if I don't want to get lost, kind of thing.
Man, I would have totally inspected that labyrinth. Like that thing looked
I
cool.
know.
Ancient
She's
ruins.
probably like, I'm gonna put a pin in that.
I'll be
We'll
back.
come back to that. And she definitely seems, like like she would want to go explore that. And
She was drawn to it just naturally.
yeah. Mm.
Not to mention at the very top, like the opening to the labyrinth, there's like a little ram looking symbol thing at the top.
Mm.
So foreshadowing.
Hmm. So later that night, after her mom is already asleep, which, yeah, even her mom Carmen, she will tell her, like, oh, the baby is restless, so can you tell him a story and calm him down? She's not like telling Ophelia like, oh, stop it with your stories. She encourages it, and then I
At
think
first.
yeah, I know, we'll get there too. It seems like she also tells some stories of her own, because later on, she tells the story of how they met and how they got married, and then the
Mm.
captain's like, oh, don't mind my wife and her silly little stories, kind of thing. She's not used to having guests. He's such a
Again,
jerk
like
in this one.
he was like
He's so
really,
dismissive and condescending.
he doesn't want people knowing his business, and so he was kind of embarrassed by that. So he's just like, yeah,
Yeah.
shut the fuck up.
Yeah, and then maybe that's why he didn't want to talk about the watch either, because right after that is when the guy was like, I knew your father, and I heard the story, and he told the story about the watch, and the captain's like, nah, my father didn't have a watch.
And I wonder if it got smuggled out to Vidal the same way that the watch got smuggled out in Pulp Fiction.
Hopefully not.
Up his ass.
And he has to say it like that too.
Just Christopher Walken all the time.
I know.
Later that night, she's visited by the fairy again.
The fairy comes back. She shows the fairy the book, and the fairy transforms from the insect into, the more recognizable pixie fairy.
Kind of looks like the was it the Green Giant or whatever with wings?
Yeah, the one on the cans, right?
Yeah.
That Peter Pan play that we had, where the woman plays Peter Pan.
That thing was, I would watch it from time to time, but man, it creeped the shit out of me for whatever reason. Like, I don't know. Maybe it
It's so
fell
funny.
into almost like a dark fantasy sort of realm for me, but man,
It's just a little off-putting to you.
it was,
I kind
yeah.
of got that too, actually.
Like, I can't really put my finger on it, but it just felt creepy to me.
Yeah, I can see that. I feel like I felt that way at some point in my life too. I should look that one up and see if it still gives those vibes.
It's gonna take me back. I'm just like, no.
So, so indeed, Ophelia is led back to the labyrinth by the fairy, where she is introduced to. Well, I guess he introduces himself, but she meets the faun.
Allow myself to introduce myself.
I haven't seen those movies in a long time. It's funny. Maybe we should do those movies because it's so funny. Like when they first came out, I was like, man, this looks like the dumbest shit that I've ever seen. And then I saw one and I never looked back.
Also, if you have never really been into like those spy movies, because that's what it's parodying, right? So if
Well,
you've
I've
never
never
been into
seen
those
I've never
either,
seen a James Bond movie,
never?
but I've seen all the Austin Powers. I saw one, which was Tomorrow Never Dies.
Oh my god, why that one of all of them?
Because that was the one I went to the theater to see with Dad. Like that was the one where Dad was like, "I'm gonna go see a movie. You want to come?" And I was just like, "Yeah, sure." And it was that movie. It's not like I was like, "I want to see this movie." It was just like, "Oh, Dad's gonna take me to the movies. I'm gonna get free popcorn." So cool.
Kill a couple of hours here.
Yeah, pretty much. It was probably in the summer. I didn't have anything going on. Depending on what year it came out, might have been in high school or after high school or whatever.
Mm,
So
okay.
yeah, yeah, it's not like I sought that movie out. It just happened to be, and it was cool. It was whatever to me. I've never been that into the James Bond movies, and so I wasn't like, oh my god, I want to see more.
Yeah, you've never been into like the espionage type of movies, huh?
I mean, they're not bad. It's just I don't know why I never got into them.
Like Mission Impossible either?
No, definitely not this. I think if any of them, I would probably watch the James Bond movies, but
Oh,
I
okay.
am not into the Mission Impossible. Ooh, what the fuck? I did something.
Was that your PC?
We have one of those little like power bank surge protector boxes. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah, it's like a little mini UPS.
UPS. That's what they're called. I pressed some button on that and it beeped. Um.
Moving on.
So the faun explains to Ophelia that she's the reincarnation of Princess Moana, and at which point I said, "Huh, her name is Moana," because my kids are obsessed with Moana. So that name is a regular. It's a
You've heard
regular
regularly.
household name. Yeah.
So she's already led down into the labyrinth by the fairy, right? And
It's just a pit, but I'm assuming that there's kind of like a spiral looking thing in the middle of the pit, like in the
yeah,
bottom,
yeah.
and I'm assuming that that's probably like the unopened portal.
It's pretty creepy. Like, you don't know what the hell's down
Yeah, it's
there.
creepy. It's creepy. It's kind of cool. Like I would have loved to explore that when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah. During the day, not in the middle of the night.
Yeah, and she's down there at night.
And not only that, but like she thinks she's by herself, so she just kind of like, oh wow, it's echoing in here, just kind of
Oh yeah,
exploring.
and she's literally saying "echo, echo" like a kid would.
Yeah. She walks past this fucking giant ass like 8 foot tall thing, and it like blends in with the wall and it like detaches, kind of like the crew from the Flying
Oh
Dutchman, like
the
how they're like locked
yeah.
into the ship. What the fuck is that?
That's at what point I would have been like, well, fuck that, and I would have been gone.
This huge ass fawn. And but you know what, like this thing was super super creepy, right? And it sounds creepy too, but man, it's weird because it's both elegant and disturbing to look at the same time.
Exactly. Like he's beautiful and disturbing at the same time. It's so weird, but I think that's the beauty of the design. And Guillermo del Toro just has this way of creating creatures like that
Oh yeah.
that can accomplish both. I love it. It's so good.
Yeah,
Um
I don't think very many people can pull that off, but that's like Guillermo del Toro's
Seriously.
bread and butter.
Yeah. Like Hellboy and stuff too.
Yeah, that Angel of Death thing in Hellboy 2.
Mhm. Yeah, we should do Hellboy. All these ones,
Rediscovering all these movies.
right? He's one of my favorite characters because he's so creepy but so cool at the same time, you know? And
Right,
I
right.
don't know, like, whole movie, I don't know if I should trust him or not, you know?
Yeah, that's another genius element to the movie is like this whole time you're like he's a major focal point of the plot and you're just like I don't know if I should trust him or not. You almost have to keep him at arm's distance.
But all this time, you know, like, it's still, you know, dead of night, and I'm still thinking to myself, is this really happening or not? Still don't know, you know?
When you
Could be
first
in
saw
her
the
head.
movie, did you think that he was malicious? I thought he for sure he was going to be like
Yeah.
manipulative.
Yeah, or turn on her or eat her, I don't know what,
Hmm.
and end up delivering her to some monster. But he's so charming too. Um, so yeah, he basically explains to her, and I think maybe that's one of the things that proves that she might be the real princess is that even though she's scared, she stands her ground. She's brave.
I think some of that too is like it could be because she's a child, and you know, a lot of times like they're like, "Oh, I'm talking to my imaginary friend," which is like a fucking demon in the house,
Right.
you know, in a lot of those movies. But
Man, if that was me as a kid, I would have pieced right out. But no, I mean, through all of it and the tasks and all of it, she's super brave. Even though she's scared, you know, she's
yeah,
obviously scared. Like she's breathing hard and stuff, and
but she pushes through.
but she still pushes through. So the faun explains to her that she's the princess and that to go back to her realm, she has to complete these three tasks before the full moon. He gives her a book and the stones, right?
I think right now it's just the book, but the book has nothing in it. It's just blank, which is
Yeah.
interesting.
And he tells her that she has to be alone when she opens it, and
Yeah, and then it'll tell her what she needs to know when she needs it. Oh, he does give her the stones because that's going to be her first
okay,
task. Yeah.
yeah, that's what I thought. So she goes back, and then she has the book, and of course she opens it and it's
This
blank,
is some Harry Potter shit, right?
right? She does make it, you know, alone. I think it's when she's gonna take her bath, right? Like she goes into the bathroom, she's finally alone, and the book reveals itself to her and gives her the first task.
Ooh.
I guess they're going to have this dinner and there's going to be some important people over. And her mom has made her this beautiful dress. So she takes her bath, she puts the
Aw.
dress on,
I was sad about this.
and then I know, and then she goes, she's like, I guess I'm going to go check this tree out for this first task. And I don't know if she had intended to do it right then and there, but when she's there, she's like, fuck it, let's do it.
Yeah.
So she takes the dress off and hangs it on a branch of the tree so that it won't get dirty. But when she crawls into this tree, and I don't know how the heck this tree is so deep, but she's crawling through the tree down this little passage and she's getting all kinds of muddy.
This was straight up some Alice in Wonderland shit.
Yeah, very much. And there's bugs everywhere crawling all over her.
Hmm.
And this is where I'm like,
Hell
okay,
no.
is this really happening? That too. It maybe this is really happening. I'm not,
Mm.
you know, I'm starting to kind of believe.
It's possible, right? It's plausible. You got this giant mutated toad down there.
Yeah, so giant mutated toad in this really deep tree, and there's bugs crawling everywhere, and eventually a bug crawls up her face. At, I would not have let that happen, first of all. But the bug crawls up her face, and the toad shoots his tongue out and eats it off her face.
Yeah.
And no.
So that, I mean, that shows you that the toad has no interest in eating her. It just wants the
Thank
grubs around.
goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then she has the freaking audacity to be like, "Aren't you ashamed of yourself living in here like this?"
Little shit talker. She gets a little cheeky sometimes.
Man, the balls, the cojones. So yeah, she has the stones in her hand, and she's like, "Okay, I got to get this toad to eat the stones."
Mhm.
So she puts a bug in her hand with the stones and holds it out to him, and she's like, "Don't you want this? Yeah, doesn't this look good?" So he
The
eats.
stones do look like the bugs.
Yeah, so, and they're all covered in mud, but whatever. So the toad eats the stones, and it makes him turn inside out, basically. Like all his insides fall out of his mouth, and then he
Into
deflates.
one little pouch. Kind of strange.
It's interesting because it was like a sticky. It looks like a sticky mound, and all the bugs are like stuck to the outside of it.
Yeah.
And then the ones that he just ate are still alive, and they freaking literally crawl away.
Right, right. And the key is there.
Yeah, attached to this gross giant inside out stomach is the key that she's supposed to be getting. So she grabs the key and it's all slimy and she's just like, ew, that's disgusting.
Get the fuck out.
And finally, by the time she gets out of there, she gets out and she's like, what the hell just happened, kind of thing, which I totally understand. I would
Yeah.
have been like that too.
She's in shock.
It's about, like, yeah, it's about to start raining and then the dress is gone.
So, really quick, my thing with the toad is that because it
Uh-huh.
looked pretty harmless, but I think it was kind of like a menace to the tree and like the surrounding area, from my understanding. And so I think
Yeah.
that's why it needed to be taken out, because it was almost like a parasite just destroying everything around it.
Yeah, and I think the tree couldn't thrive because the toad was there.
Hmm.
But yeah, she gets the key and she exits the tree and her dress is gone and it turns out it blew away and landed in some mud,
Hmm.
which sucks.
All that was just like a poorly planned out.
Exactly. Like she's filthy, the dress is filthy, the dinner's going on, nobody knows where the heck she is.
And she's basically in her underwear walking through the forest.
Right. I think she puts the she might put the dress back on. She's just wearing it all muddy and stuff because she shows up and Mercedes finds her.
Oh,
I think she
yeah.
has it on, but um, that was when Carmen tells her story. She's at the dinner with these people, and one of the wives asks, "How did you guys meet?" or whatever, and she tells her story, and then the captain is like, "Don't listen to my silly little wife." I mean, I wondered what he was gonna say, what he was gonna do, because he's always just kind of, he's even when he's doing something harm, like he's just shaving himself, and then he looks at himself in the mirror and like slits the throat of his reflection with
Yeah,
his.
what was that about?
Just so weird.
As prideful as he is, it's almost like he still hates himself.
Yeah, maybe he's just like, until I can live up to my father's legacy, I'm nothing, or something, maybe something
Hmm.
like that. And of course, she finds Ophelia the way she is, and she's just like, oh, she's in the bath and the dress is ruined, and
Yeah. Her feelings are hurt.
yeah, it hurts her feelings. She's like, I'm very disappointed in you. How could you do this to me, sort of thing. Obviously, she doesn't know that Ophelia is on a very, very important mission.
Not that anyone would believe her anyway.
So, oh man, where are we at?
The supplies are getting a little low, so Vidal secures everything in the granary, and he has like a thick padlock on it with supposedly one single key to unlock it.
And also, they decide to decrease the rations for the families because they don't want anybody to have extra to be giving to the rebels.
Hmm. They're also like barely getting any to survive.
Pretty much, exactly. Yeah, and he announces that at the dinner too, that they're cutting the rations specifically for that. And then he even gives, like, he takes the key from Mercedes, right? And he's like, "Oh, this is the only copy of the key, right?" And she's like, "Of course, sir.
Foreshadowing.
That's that. Yeah, that will come back. Don't worry about that." So the next day, she's like, okay, I have the key. She opens the book again. That is when it just shows, it's basically, it shows the ovaries and the uterus in blood. Like it just kind of spreads
Blood
across the
red.
pages.
Yeah.
And then as the blood spreads, like you hear like kind of a baby crying. And she slams the book shut and then she opens the door to the bathroom and her mom is there pale and sweating, blood everywhere,
Bleeding out. Ooh.
yeah, from her down there.
Dang, that was a good catch. I didn't catch the baby sound coming from the book. That's crazy.
I rewound it
Oh, you
to make
did?
sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, was that a baby sound? So she she runs out to grab the captain, and then of course it shows the next scene. The doctor is like, oh, she needs to stay. She's on bed rest, basically.
Hmm. When you see stuff like this happen in TV shows and movies, does it really affect you? Like, does it make you feel uncomfortable? Or are you just like, oh, that's crazy?
It used to. Honestly, like the all the stuff that Captain Vidal does is way more uncomfortable to me. Like that scene where towards the beginning it just kind of shows how ruthless he is, where they catch the two guys out in the forest hunting rabbits, the father and son, and they're like, I swear, like we were just hunting rabbits, we were just hunting rabbits, and then he smashes the son's face in with a bottle, which shows the whole thing, and it's so
Yeah,
brutal.
right, right.
And then he ends up shooting both of them, and then they dig through their stuff and they find the rabbits that they were hunting. He's just like, search him better before you bring him to me. Like, don't waste my time, kind of thing.
Yeah,
But then he gives the rabbits to the kitchen,
no remorse. But it's like, well, they're dead, so they're not going to have any use for these.
right?
It's crazy because there's like disturbing things happening in the real world, but there's also
Uh-huh.
like equal parts just as crazy of stuff happening in the fantasy world as well, and they're just kind of happening parallel to each other.
Hmm. Once Carmen is put on bed rest, they put Ophelia in her own room. And now that she's alone in her own room, the fawn visits her there. There's not a lot of time going, until the full moon. You have two other tasks to do. What's going on? And Ophelia is like, well, my mom is sick. So the fawn gives her a little mandrake root baby. And that thing looks like a baby and kind of moves like a baby and sounds like a baby. And
This is another thing that seems like it came from Harry Potter as well.
Harry Potter took it from that. Who knows where it came? I mean, I'm sure there's lore, like common lore, that they both kind of borrowed from, right?
Folklore.
So the mandrake, he tells her to put it in fresh milk and then give it 2 drops of blood a day. And she puts it under the bed.
And she bites her finger.
So she puts the root in the fresh milk, and then the mandrake baby kind of stretches out and kind of starts like reaching up for her and making cute little noises and
Oh
stuff.
yeah, this is nice.
Yeah, it's adorable. So she puts that under the bed, gives it the blood, and like immediately Carmen is better. Her pulse is stabilizing, her fever is dropping, and yeah, based on those symptoms, yeah, definitely not the morning sickness.
From an outside perspective, this definitely would come off as like some witchcraft type stuff.
Yeah, which is probably how the captain takes it when he discovers it, right?
Right.
But we'll get there too. So after that, Ophelia goes back to the fawn. My mom's doing a lot better, thank you. I'm ready for the next task. So he gives her the chalk.
Oh man, I this is probably my favorite part of the entire movie, and like I get so excited to just like talk about it because even when I was watching it, when she's given the chalk, I love the concept of that. I love the concept of what her
Yeah.
second task is and like how it goes down. I love this part of the movie.
Yeah, so I mean I agree, and I think a lot of people agree too. It's just a really interesting scene in the movie, really well done, and again creepy and beautiful, right? I mean I wouldn't call that monster beautiful, but like the scene itself is beautiful.
Hmm.
The table with all the food, and
Dining room with like a ornate hallway and all this stuff.
yeah, so she's given the chalk, and the fawn tells her, draw when you're alone and when you're ready, draw a door with this chalk. Flip the hourglass, and that's how long you have before the door will close. So go complete this task. And of course, the number one rule is, under no circumstances should you eat
Don't
anything.
eat the food.
Absolutely nothing. And even when he says it in Spanish, I'm like, I understood that one.
So obviously, like how we're saying, with a lot of aspects of the movie, this part is super horrifying, amazing at the same time. This is truly where Del Toro absolutely shines in these dark, disturbing, fantastical moments and creatures. I love this shit. And like the concept of the chalk, like does that not seem like a tool that every kid wish they had? Like any kid that has like a big imagination was like, what if I had this chalk that could take me anywhere?
Create a door, yeah.
Hmm.
And I feel like this monster is probably Del Toro's most notorious monster.
Mm.
So, obviously she goes in there, she sees the food, she sees the eyeballs on the plate in front of the monster.
Does she even
All
pick
the
it up?
paintings of the monster. She picks up the plate, not the eyeballs, and she just
Oh,
looks
okay.
at it and she's like, "Ooh," and then she puts it back. So she sees all the paintings, all the art on the walls showing the monster eating children, and then she sees a pile of children's shoes,
I wonder what all this means. Anyway, what was I doing?
right? So she sees all that and she's just like she should have been like, wow, I don't want to mess with this. Like, let's just do this task and
Well,
get out of here.
all the fairies, so they were tasked with helping her with this task, right? They're squeaking and they're like,
Yeah.
like making sure that she's staying on track. I mean, it seemed like she was still kind of like, yeah, 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 whatever, I got it.
Well, and
She
then
was
even
dismissive of
the
them.
one fairy, points at one of the doors and is like, this door. And she's like, nah, it's this door. So she passed the test.
What do you think was in those other compartments?
Death.
Do you think they would just automatically wake the monster, or was there something worse inside?
That or something that might have killed her or something that might have maybe trapped her there.
Ooh, okay.
Or she would have just failed and not been eligible to continue.
Oof.
Yeah, so she gets the right door. There's a dagger inside. She puts the dagger in her little purse that she also keeps her fairies in, but it also happens to be just long enough for the dagger, which is convenient.
That was pretty cool too, the way that she was able to choose the right compartment because she just had to use her intuition.
Yeah,
She purposefully went against
advice.
their advice, and she ended up being right. So yeah, you can definitely tell that they were trying to like see if could this really be Moana, because Moana would be the only one that can pass this part of the test right here.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously the food on the table is super enticing, and she's probably thinking to herself, he's not going to miss a grape or two. So she eats a grape even though the fairies are like, please, please don't, trying to keep
Fucked
her from
up.
doing it. So she eats one grape, and then the monster, the pale man, wakes up,
Twitches awake.
twitches. Yeah, his hands start twitching. He turns his hands over and puts an eyeball in each hand.
The little sockets.
Yeah, and then his face is just like a mouth and like two little nose holes that are like way up here. And then he puts his hands up here, and that's his eyes, which is freaking cool.
So at first I was all like, okay, like that's a strange imagery having, just eyes in the palms of your hands, but man, the whole thing comes together when he like puts the palms up
Uh
to his
huh.
forehead. Oh shit, that looks sick.
Right? Oh man, it's so cool. And he gets up and starts walking over to her, and she doesn't even notice. And the fairies are trying to warn her, like, put the grape down and let's run. But she's not noticing, and so they start trying to fight him. Like they start flying around his head.
Oh, trying to protect her.
Yeah, he grabs two of them and bites their heads right off.
Those fairies' blood is on her hands.
Yeah, I think that was the saddest to me. The fairies that may or may not even be real.
Yeah. And so that's why he has so many shoes. His trophies, right?
Yeah, that's why I showed the shoes so that you can see without actually seeing the paintings and the shoes show you how dangerous he is.
And Brenda here, she thought he looked like a ball sack.
A little bit of that too. Pale, yeah, just he kind of looks like a naked mole rat. But that's kind of a representation. I think that's a little bit of social commentary there. So she finally snaps out of it once her fairies get eaten, and then she starts running for the door, but she spent too much time eating two grapes, and so the door is closing.
How is she so locked in on these grapes that she didn't hear like any of that going on behind her?
Right? I think maybe they're kind of enchanted to like in
Ooh, they're drawn
draw her
in.
in,
Yeah,
and
like a
then maybe she's
tractor
kind of like
beam.
in this little trance once she starts eating them.
And she was able to just snap out of it on her own, huh?
Yeah, it took some effort. So magical food. So she obviously misses the door. She's standing on the chair, and the pale man is coming for her. So she has this bright idea of drawing a door in the ceiling, and she loses that chair, by the way, because that she puts a chair down.
Oh yeah, she brought it in from the real world.
It's like high in the wall, and in that world, and so she had to put a chair down so she could step down from the door she made. So she draws a door. She can barely reach. She draws a door in the ceiling, pulls herself up, which I don't think I would have been able to do as a child, but whatever.
That seemed way more difficult to do.
Right? Barely escapes, loses a chair, and she comes out of the floor of her room. And like she can hear like the monster like hitting it from below and stuff. And it's
Yeah.
super, super scary.
Isn't that wild? You can still hear it banging against the floor from like the fantasy
The
realm.
other realm, yeah, which is creepy. That's like every kid's nightmare there, that like monsters under the bed or in the closet or whatever. Ugh,
Also reminded me of Aladdin. Abu, don't take the gold, right?
right?
Because
Yeah.
you're only supposed to grab the lamp. Don't touch anything else.
Yeah. Um yeah, after that, she goes to the fawn and she's like, I made a mistake. It was an accident. It was an accident. And I think he's very upset to have lost a couple of the fairies. And he tells her, like, oh, you're not the one after all.
He was very disappointed in her.
Hmm.
He's intimidating, and he gets angry at her, and I'm just like, oh man, is he gonna hurt her?
Seriously. It's scary.
He chews her out, rips her a new asshole, and basically just like storms off.
Yep. Yep. And she feels horrible about it, obviously. You see obviously a little bit of fantasy world, a little bit of horrible Captain Vidal world.
Mm-hmm.
And the like you do meet like a few of the members of the resistance. You find out that Mercedes is the person in the house that's kind of helping them. You find out that her brother is involved, and the doctor's involved,
Pedro
and
is the brother, and Dr. Fierro.
so they're all part of it. They're all conspiring, and Mercedes and the doctor are kind of helping as much as they can from the inside. At some point, the Mercedes asks for medicine from the doctor, and he gives some to help a man whose leg is injured.
Mm.
Later, the doctor goes and visits him, and his leg is beyond saving, so he has to cut it off. They end up launching an attack. They attack a train. They don't steal anything from the train, and at that point, you're like, "Oh, that's a distraction." And then you hear an explosion, and they're attacking the main compound or whatever.
Right. Mm-hmm. They break into where they keep the rations.
Yeah, which I guess like they had used grenades and stuff to make it look like they were exploding their way in, but Captain later, recognizes that the lock wasn't forced, it wasn't exploded, it wasn't broken.
Pedro fucked up, man. That's a rookie mistake.
So the fight ensues and the rebels lose. A lot of them die and one gets captured.
Oh, the stuttering. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they torture the crap out of him, and he does talk a little bit. He just says that there's an informant in the house.
What'd you think of that game that Vidal plays with him? He's like, yeah, if you
If you
can.
count to three, if you count to three. Oh man, that was fucked up. Because he knew dang well. They both knew dang well that he wasn't gonna be able to do it.
Yeah, he was trying his darndest though.
Oh, he sure was. And then he fetches the doctor to come. I don't know what he wants the doctor to do.
He said keep him alive and like don't let him pass out. Like he wants him to feel the pain.
Right.
Dr. Ferrero, played by Alex Angulo, he just does a mercy kill on him. He's like, yeah, because this is someone that he knows, right? And he was actually helping part of the Maquis, I think, the guerrilla team out there. He just takes him out.
At some point, they found like a little encampment in the forest, and he found they had to leave behind the antibiotics the doctor had originally given him, the guy with the injured leg. So he keeps a little vial of the antibiotics. When he calls the doctor to tend to the poor stuttering kid, he kind of like sees his bag there, and he pulls out a vial of antibiotics, and he like immediately goes back to his quarters and
Ah,
compares the
shit.
two. But
Antibiotico.
while he's gone, yeah, and so while he's gone, that's when the doctor euthanizes the kid. And so he's in his quarters, like realizing that the vials are the same. And so by the time he
He
comes
put two
back,
and two together.
by the time he comes back, he's already about to like confront him. But then he catches him in the act, like needle in hand, just having killed him.
He fesses up to it. He doesn't like try to weasel his way out. He's just like, yep, I did what I did. I don't regret it.
Yeah, he's just like, why didn't you obey me? I can't remember the exact words. I should have written it down, but something along the lines of like, to follow someone blindly, no questions asked kind of thing. He's like, only a man like you could do something like that. And then he walks away, and then just he shoots him in the back while he's walking away.
I don't know, he was a stand-up guy. Like he had his morals and he stood by him.
He was the one though who was like, this is kind of a lost cause. You guys should just give up. But they're like, the rest of them are like, no, we're never going to give up kind of thing. But at the end, he was like, he showed that he still believed in the cause and everything
Yeah.
in his last moment. At that point, he also confronts Mercedes, and then she's like, "Oh, I want you to go to the storeroom and get me more liquor." And she's like, "Okay," and she starts to leave, and he's like,
Oh,
"Don't you need this the only key?"
right, right. This is the only key, isn't it?
Yeah. And so she takes it, and then he kind of stops her and is like, "Hey, so the rebels didn't force the lock. Like they used a bunch of grenades and stuff and blew the place up, but the lock was never forced."
Jigs up.
Okay. Yeah. And she's just like, "See you tomorrow."
Let's not forget that when she's in the kitchen, she's always doing this thing where she like tucks this knife in her apron.
Tucks the Yeah, she always stows her
So that plays a
knife.
role later.
So she has her knife.
Yeah, so the big thing is that Ophelia, she's recently abandoned by the Faun, and so she's trying to tend to the mandrake, and she gets caught by Vidal.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And she's like tending to the mandrake, and she's like, "Oh, you're not really moving anymore." I think maybe, I mean, because the fawn did say it had to be fresh milk, and I don't think she was refreshing the milk,
I don't
because
think so
when
either.
Vidal pulls it out from under the bed, he smells it, and he's like, "Oh," kind of thing.
Yep.
So she's like, "Oh, it's not moving anymore. I wonder if you're still alive." And then he pulls her out from under the bed, and he's like, "What the heck are you doing under here?" He finds the mandrake, he pulls it out, and he's like, "What is this?" And then and Ophelia, I mean, Carmen is feeling way better, and so she's actually up, and she's kind of like, "Oh, leave Ophelia alone." And then he shoves the magic at her, and she's also kind of like, "Oh."
Yeah.
Carmen is the one who's like, "You know what? You need to cool it with the stories. You're not a kid anymore," kind of thing. And then she throws the mandrake in the fire, where it screams and writhes as it burns up.
And then immediately Carmen starts feeling worse.
Yeah, and then she goes into labor,
Yep.
has the baby, and dies.
Damn. And that was sad too, was like that was like the thing that she also told her little brother while he was still in the womb was, I'll make you a promise. I'll take you to my kingdom if you promise not to hurt my mom, that because it's like
Yeah.
that's all I have in the world. He betrayed her. Another thing that happened earlier too was when before the doctor got killed, Vidal even told her or told the doctor that like if you need to choose between saving my wife or saving my son, save my son.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what though? That seems like a harsh request to make, but honestly, Carmen would have said the same thing. As a mom,
Maybe there's no guarantee the child would survive, so there's that too.
I feel like unless it's like a mom who like maybe doesn't care about her kids or something, I think any or most moms would choose to save the baby over themselves,
Hmm.
regardless of the fact that you could always try again.
So the baby is safely brought into the world, but Carmen ends up dying during the
Mm-hmm.
difficult labor.
How sad. And of course, Ophelia is devastated. And it's kind of after that the whole Mercedes discovery happens. That's when Mercedes decides to run, but she stops to basically say goodbye to Ophelia and says, "I'm leaving, but I'll come back for you. I promise I'll come back for you." But Ophelia is like, "Please, please, please take me with you." So she ends up giving in and takes her with her.
Dang.
And so they're walking through the forest in the rain. Mercedes has an umbrella. And at some point she stops and she's like, "I thought I heard something." And it shows her and she has the umbrella up, right? That was probably nothing. And then she like turns to start walking. Then she moves the umbrella aside to reveal the captain right there with like a team of people. So he has Mercedes, throws her into the stock room, the supply room, whatever you call it, and then has like throws Ophelia in a room, and he's like, "Little bitch, like how long have you been? How long have you known? How long have you been mocking me?" And then he locks her in her room and tells the guard, like, if anyone comes for her, kill her first.
Yeah, hits her as well. Ophelia is like really hit a low point right here because it's like she's been abandoned by the Faun. She can't complete her third task. Her mom died, and like now she's in trouble with Vidal. Like Vidal knows everything, so she is fucked
Yep.
until the Faun shows back up.
What?
He's given it some thought. He wanted to make sure that she learned her lesson, and he's willing to give her a final chance to redeem herself and complete the final task.
And the final task is to bring the baby to the labyrinth.
steal the baby, bring it to the labyrinth, and then from there they can go into the kingdom. He doesn't tell the whole story though.
The problem is she's still stuck in that room, and she's like, "What the heck am I supposed to do? I'm still stuck in this room." And he gives
Are
her back the
you?
chalk, and he says, "Then make your own door."
I like that they brought it back. It wasn't just like for
Mm-hmm.
that single task. It can be used in other
It's really,
applications.
really magical chalk. Yeah.
Again, I guess comparing it to Harry Potter, it's kind of like the cloak that keeps popping up in like throughout the story. Like once Harry gets the invisibility cloak, how he kind of uses it for different
Mm-hmm.
missions.
Yeah. So then back to Mercedes briefly. He's starting to do his whole thing. He has her tied up. He, turns her back to her while he's prepping his tools and giving his little spiel that to get her all nervous or whatever. And while he's doing that, she busts out her little hidden knife and cuts herself loose. And like mid spiel, he stabs him in the back. And he turns around. He stabs him, and she stabs him in the front, and then puts the knife in his mouth.
Oh shit!
And is like, "You aren't the first pig I've gutted," or something like that, which is also great.
Damn,
And then slices his face and runs off.
that's some cold blooded shit.
Nothing he doesn't deserve.
Yeah, basically gave him like a Glasgow smile, cuts right
Yeah,
through his
half
cheek.
a one anyway.
So my thing with this is something that kind of annoys me, and it's like a trope in movies, is that the heroes will like fucking I don't know, like stab the antagonist once and like walk away and never confirm the
I know
kill.
that. Seriously, like keep going until he's down,
Yeah,
right?
she could have easily taken him out right here.
Maybe she's just scared and she just wants to get out of there. But whatever. She should. She definitely should have confirmed the kill.
Right, right.
Um. So she books it out of there and just is like walking away, like trying to look normal so that people don't suspect. And the one guard's like, "Oh look, she let her go," and the other guard is like, "Really? I don't know about that kind of thing."
Hmm.
And then Vidal comes stumbling out of there, and he's like, "Get her!" So she takes off running into the forest.
He was screaming too, and like his cheek was splitting open.
Yeah, of course.
Ah,
Super creepy and gross.
yeah.
And then she runs off into the forest, gets chased on horseback, and of course she can't really outrun horses. So she's quickly surrounded. She pulls out the knife and she thinks she's going down, right? This guy's like talking to her, like he's starting to do his little villain spiel himself. He probably should have just shot her immediately.
In the nick of
But
time.
then, just in the nick of time, the rebels come and shoot him and then, kill everyone there except for one guy and save her.
She got lucky there because she was
Oh yeah.
screwed. She was not going to do anything with that little scalpel that she had.
No. With a little paring knife.
Yeah, but Pedro came through, man.
Yeah, a little nerve wracking. But, shortly after that, their kind of whole like revolution happens, I guess.
Hmm.
They attack the whole base.
Now's the time
They take out everyone.
because he's hurt. She knows
Mercedes.
this.
Yeah. Well, he actually goes back to his quarters and he sews his own face back up. Tries to drink some alcohol. It seeps out through the wound and turns the whole bandage red, which is like that one always got me too. Like that one, that visual always stuck with me. Yeah. So like yeah, that's around the time where they come and they start attacking. Mercedes comes back looking for Ophelia, but Ophelia is busy carrying out the third task. She's like hiding in his quarters while he's sewing his face up, trying to get the baby. She is able to grab the baby and she's standing in the doorway exiting the room when the first explosions start. Vidal turns around and sees her with the baby.
Uh oh.
Yeah.
Time to book it.
Mercedes is looking for her this whole time. She's promised to come back for her and she has. But she's taken the baby to the labyrinth like instructed.
He's like right on her tail and he's chasing her through. And she doesn't remember her path through the labyrinth. So she's like, oh, she's kind of screwed too. Until the labyrinth actually helps her. Like it opens up.
Yeah.
And so she's able to take a shortcut and it closes up
That's
behind
nice.
her.
And yeah, it shuts off. Yeah, it closes behind her so he can't chase her.
Buys her some time and meets the faun.
Makes it over to the faun, where the faun reveals that she has to spill the baby's blood to open the portal.
He initially said she needs to spill the blood of the innocent, right? He's alluding to the fact that the baby needs to spill its blood.
And the faun's like, oh, just a few drops, kind of thing. But I think he was downplaying it. Like I think the implication is the baby had to die.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sacrifice a baby. That's what I thought too.
And she's like, no, I'm not doing that. And he's like, so you would give everything up to save this baby? And she's like, yep.
Again, showing her bravery. Like, she stood up to the Faun who's had her back and has given her one last chance, and she's defying him again. I'm not doing that. No, go fuck yourself.
At that moment, the captain catches up to her and shoots her,
Snatches the baby, yeah, and then shoots her.
takes the baby and leaves. She falls and is just bleeding out there on the in the labyrinth.
And now this is looking like the beginning of the movie, right?
Yep. Vidal, he takes the baby, exits the labyrinth, and meets the entire resistance,
Oh shit.
who has won, which is great. And he's like, well, I guess that's it for me. So he hands the baby to Mercedes, takes out the watch, and is kind of like, please tell my son what time I died and this and that. And Mercedes is like, no, just cuts him off mid sentence. No, baby's not even going to know your name. And then they kill him.
Yep.
Hell yeah. So satisfying. So the baby is saved, which I loved. And the bad guy dies, which is great.
That was brutal. He got shot in the cheek.
Man, so great. And then Mercedes goes into the labyrinth and finds Ofelia bleeding out. Yeah, and she's like on the very edge of the pit, so her blood is kind of raining down into the pit.
Mm-hmm.
Lo and behold, she's also the blood of an innocent.
Yep.
So as she's dying, it shows her entering the throne room, being greeted by her parents, and the faun, and all three fairies. Her mother, who, looks like
Carmen.
her Carmen in real life, invites her to take her place next to her father, who's been waiting for her for a long, long time, and it's very happy. Everyone starts
This
clapping.
kingdom is real.
But as she's seeing this, it shows, it cuts back to her taking her last breath. Mercedes singing to her as she dies, and then when she takes her last breath, she sobs over her body, which is so sad. Gets me every time.
Man, this was kind of like the equivalent of going towards the light. You can't live in the physical realm and be in the fantasy realm at the same time. So she needed to
Yeah,
choose one or the other. And so she chose the fantasy realm. And so her soul kind of left her physical body.
I know, and this is the point where you're like, well, is she having a hallucination as she dies,
Mm-hmm.
or is this real? She's going to her rightful kingdom. Of course, I like to believe that she's going to her rightful kingdom, but I feel like it definitely leaves it up to interpretation.
Yeah, I like that. The faun was there too, right? And then he reveals that like that was the final task, and that's why you're allowed back, is because when he said the blood of the innocent, it wasn't her trying to sacrifice the baby. It was that she needed to basically like stand up for the innocent and risk her own life for that, which she did.
Yeah, she needed to be willing to sacrifice herself to save another, and that was another test that she passed. Sweet thing. So yeah, said that she ruled for a long time in her new kingdom with justice and kindness, and she left traces of herself in the human world, and it says visible to those who know where to look, and it shows the flower blooming on the toad tree.
Yeah, that was nice, huh? And also, did you notice when she died, she smiled, which
Yeah.
is it's bittersweet, right? Because it's like Mercedes, Pedro, and like the resistance, they kind of have to live with that casualty,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't know that she actually ended up going to a better place. That physical realm, other than her half brother, there really wasn't like anything left for her there. It was time for her to return.
And I'm sure that they won't tell her brother about her dad, but they'll probably tell her brother all about her.
Yeah, I think that'd be nice. It wasn't all sad as she died. She smiled because she's being reunited with her true family.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a wrap on Pan's Labyrinth. If you made it to the end of our podcast, then you just found out you're actually royalty.
Woo!
Any final thoughts or closing comments?
Again, a movie that I've liked for a very long time since it came out, 2007, 2006, whatever. Um, to this day, I mean, I know that I've said many times that I like to choose to believe that the fantasy world was real,
Same.
but every single time I watch it, I'm still like, this could all be in her head. This could be real. This could all just be her imagination, her hallucinations, and it never, it's never super duper clear one way or the other. And I think that's, even though normally I like, happy movies with happy endings. This is a dark movie with a questionably happy ending, depending on which way you want to look at it, but it's still so good.
Definitely. Yeah, and I also believe like I mean, for the most part, I typically like to lean more towards the depressing option like in Inception for instance, right? But I don't know, for this one, I think it means more and I think it adds more to the story to actually believe in the fantasy realm of it because otherwise this is just going to be another one of those like grounded war films or whatever. And there's plenty of
Yeah.
those, but I think what gives it its charm is that fantasy element to it. I mean, it's such a big part of the movie, and you don't really get too many fantasy moments, and that's why I think they all hit is because every time you see it, it's impactful, and I think all that is for a reason, and that's why I choose to believe that the fantasy realm was actually real.
hmm And of course, all the visuals. I mean, even the war stuff. I mean, normally I'm not a big fan of war movies, especially from like World War One and on,
Hmm.
because everything is just so brown. It's trenches, it's camo, it's guns. Everything is just so brown. There's explosions and blood and brown and death. That's it. But this doesn't feel that way. Like, even though it's during that time where all the war movies are brown, this doesn't feel like a brown war movie. Like, there's the forest, there's still like the beauty, there's still, the labyrinth and just all this stuff around it that makes it so much more than just another brown World War II movie or whatever.
Exactly. I think the point of the movie is that what if there's more to life than what we actually see? It's supposed to make you wonder, like, is there something beyond this?
Mm-hmm.
And I like that. I like that it challenges you to kind of think outside the box and kind of use your imagination.
Yeah, kind of. I don't know. I haven't seen this movie since I was a kid, so I'm probably not going to remember it properly. But there's this other movie. Oh man, I can't remember what it was called. But it's about this little girl who becomes an orphan. Like, her father puts her in this house while he's at war, and then he dies during the war. So she becomes an orphan. She becomes a servant in the house because obviously nobody's paying for her to be in this like boarding school kind of situation anymore.
Mhm.
I want to say it has princess in the name of the movie, and it was like I remember we bought this movie. We went to Walmart and I begged mom to buy me this movie because it came with a locket.
I feel like I vaguely remember this movie called like Little
But
Princess
yeah,
or
it was
something.
like, I think it was during World War II. Oh yes, I think you're right. I knew it had princess in the name. I was about to say Princess Diaries, and I was like, no, that's not it. But I mean, yeah, it kind of reminds me similarly because I think it was also like World War One or World War II time during that one
Hmm.
takes place.
Okay.
Not just another sad brown war movie.
Yeah, true. You say you don't like war movies, but you also like Atonement.
Yeah, that's true. That one is sad though. I mean, I like that movie because it's a Keira Knightley chick flick. Okay, not because it's a war movie.
Can't get enough of those.
I'll always watch the Keira Knightley chick flicks.
Do you consider Pirates of the Caribbean to be a Keira Knightley chick flick?
No, but of course I do like that movie. In case you guys didn't know,
Yeah, we also covered that movie, so go check that episode out.
that's right. It's one of our more popular ones.
Pan's Labyrinth. I know this movie is not for everyone, especially if you don't really like foreign films where you have to read subtitles, unless you understand
That's
Spanish.
true. I don't know if we mentioned that it's in Spanish.
Yeah,
We
I
had to
did
read
say
it.
it's a Spanish film.
Okay. Well, you said it's Spanish, but it doesn't mean that doesn't necessarily mean it's in Spanish. Okay.
True, true. I'm not opposed to watching foreign films in other languages. I actually feel like it's more immersive that way. I like hearing it in the native language, and I'll just try to keep up with subtitles. I'm not the quickest reader, but I do okay. It's certainly not a feel good movie, but this is truly a wonderful story with a lot of
Mm-hmm.
interesting characters. And I think that's really the selling point.
That's true, and beautiful visuals, of course.
Right. Oh, yeah. I mean, you can't state enough how awesome the art design team was for this movie. Like, from the
Mm-hmm.
unsettling eldritch creatures and settings to the imaginative concepts that I had never seen before,
Mm-hmm.
this film just hits different.
It sure does. Despite its bleakness, it is uplifting towards the end when the rebellion at least wins that battle.
And Vidal gets taken out.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's definitely not. It's definitely kind of a bleak movie, but one that I will revisit again and again, happily.
Shout out to the young Ivana Baquero for her portrayal of Ofelia. She did a wonderful job as this character, and this was a character that you just wanted to see succeed so badly.
I know.
She was so cute, she was so
She was very
sweet,
good.
and
Yeah.
perfect casting.
I wonder if she's done anything else since then.
I think she's in something recent, if I
Oh, that's cool.
recall. Oh, she's in the new Spartacus, like the reboot of Spartacus, I guess.
There's a reboot of Spartacus?
Yeah.
Oh, she was in the Shannara Chronicles.
But it seems like she was still staying busy, she's staying active.
Mm-hmm. Good for her.
Yeah. Are you watching anything lately, film or TV?
I've recently finished a Korean drama, which I liked. And I actually also just saw for the first time The Substance,
Very nice. I really love that movie.
which I have thoughts on. I know so many people love that movie. I liked it, but I don't know if I would say I loved it.
Can't really recommend it to a lot of people.
I obviously it was weird, right? Like I get that. And it had a lot of symbolism and meaning behind it and stuff like that. The close up of Dennis Quaid eating shrimp and like all those like gross mouth
To
sounds
make you
and
feel uncomfortable.
all the
Yeah.
like yeah, like all that really uncomfortable stuff. But also showed a lot like objectified a lot, like a lot of close ups on asses and crotches and
I feel like that movie, the way that it was directed and edited, it feels different from other movies. And that's what I liked about it
it
was like
does, yeah, it does.
I like that it just drops you into this crazy world where like this substance thing is going on around the world. There's no backstory. It doesn't explain anything. There's no
I
resolution as
know
to what this
it
company
was
is.
crazy.
I was digging just like everything about that movie. I thought it was refreshing to watch.
Like I said, I don't disagree that it was good and it was interesting. Would I watch it again? Sure. Would I be uncomfortable? Hell yeah. With no men.
I think Margaret Qualley is going to be like the new Natalie Portman for him.
Yeah, I agree, and I don't like it.
Well, I also saw a couple movies. I saw The Long Walk in theaters, based off of the Stephen King novel.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much what I expected. I don't think it was like that great of a story, but I think it was like I just kind of wanted to see like where it was going to lead. Almost kind of like the Hunger Games, where it's like once you win, then you're taken care of, but you have to go through a lot of fucked up shit to get there, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was fine. Like it was cool to see once. I don't know if it's the best movie in the world, and I don't know if I would go see it again.
Where does he come up with this stuff? I swear. Yeah, I'm not actually that big of a Stephen King fan for getting a Stephen King tattoo.
Oh wow. And the other movie I saw was just because I was such a huge wrestling fan back in the day, so I wanted to see it just to kind of learn a little bit more about the history of pro wrestling. So I saw Queen of the Ring, and I just ordered that on a Fandango.
Mm.
Um, it didn't really get that great of reviews, but I was still curious about it
Is it a
because
documentary or a movie?
it's a movie. It's loosely based off of the kind of inception of women's professional wrestling. My gripe with it though is that it was trying to throughout the whole movie they kept trying to mix in like this is a real fight or a shoot and this is also professional wrestling and they're trying to mash those together,
Mm.
but is it one or the other? Like it was trying to be both and in turn it was neither.
Mm.
Felt like it came from someone that studied about professional wrestling but wasn't a true fan, if that makes sense.
Interesting. Did you ever see Glow?
Oh yeah, I saw Glow and I thought Glow was great.
Yeah. I never actually watched it. I've seen snippets here and there, but Andrew actually watched it and he loved it.
I've even seen the real Glow like on TV, and it would be on some random ass channel. But I remember flipping through. This was back at mom and dad's, and I was flipping through, and I was just like, "Oh shit, there's like wrestling on at like odd hours of the day, or maybe it was like 11 at
It
night."
was Glow.
Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. It's like such a corny name, and I remember
That's
one of
what it
the
was
things.
called? That's what it stands for?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
And what I thought was funny was the weapons that they would use are like little hand mirrors. Like they would smash them over each
Oh
other's
my
heads.
gosh, that's so dumb.
Yeah.
That wouldn't do shit to anybody.
But yeah, it was fine. Like I wouldn't recommend it. I thought Queen of the Ring was kind of whack, actually. To me, the best wrestling movie, the best depiction of professional wrestling is still The Wrestler. That's just such a great movie. Well, you can find us wherever you normally get your podcasts. New episodes drop on the first Saturday of each month, 5 a.m. Pacific. If you like what you heard, leave us a like, comment, or subscribe. Thank you all for listening and joining Stephanie and myself. This has been Aflixionados Podcast, episode 60, Pan's Labyrinth, and we'll see you all next time.
60. Jesus.